Newsfirst at 9. Headlines.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime News here on MTV Sports and Shakti TV. I'm Shah Pati and these are your headlines. Allied Health Sciences undergrads and trade unions demonstrate yet again to win their demands. India stresses the importance of the continuity of Sri Lanka's reconciliation process. Investigations into an incident involving a police officer and a deputy minister on the Southern Expressway. And finally, Minister Maithripala Sirisena takes a strong stance on his fight against cigarettes. Well, those are your headlines tonight. We now cross over to the main news desk for these stories in detail.
Thank you very much, Shine, and good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Madhushka Balasuriya.
And I'm Sonali Manikabadake. We start off with a look at one of your top stories tonight. A protest march organised demanding the extension of the duration of the Allied Health Science degree to 4 years and a stop to student suppression was held in Colombo today. Now, the protest march commenced opposite the National Hospital in Colombo.
The protest march was organised by the Government Nursing Officers Association and the Joint Council of Trade Unions of Professions Supplementary to Medicine. The protesters claim that while the duration of the Allied Health Science degree has been cut back to 3 years, students who oppose this measure are being oppressed. At the Colombo Fort Railway Station then staged a rally opposite the Allied Health Science undergraduates who are staging a Satyagraha campaign.
This degree belongs to us. It is our right. They learn and come to work with us. We cannot evade that responsibility. Today, as the health sector, as public and private sector, trade unions, as students and parents, we have come to the streets today to demand that they stop the cutbacks made to education. This is all a lie. This is a result of S.V. Dissanayake trying to sell universities and university degrees the way he wants. We are clearly saying that this process of slashing university degrees should be stopped immediately.
Meanwhile, study leave was granted today for Allied Health Science undergrads of the University of Peradeniya, marking the beginning of the examination period. The university authorities had noted prior to this that students who do not sit for the examination would be considered to have failed. However, the Satyagraha campaign commenced by the Allied Health Science undergraduates continued for the 156th day.
The administrators had said that they will continue with examination activities. The administrators from time to time try to stop these struggles. We ask them to intervene and resolve this problem and return normalcy to this. It is only if they do that we will return to academic activities. The students haven't informed us yet whether or not they will be sitting for the examinations. On 2 occasions we have considered the laments of the students and have taken decisions on their behalf. Participate in the examination process that commences today. If you feel that it is essential, you may be able to approach the faculty board and request more time to prepare for the examination. But the fundamental requirement for this is to attend lectures.
Meanwhile, the Government Medical Officers Association today expressed their views on extending the Allied Health Science degree to 4 years as it was in the past.
Students who have high Z scores from among the Allied Health Science students can complete the 4-year degree. The others will get a 3-year degree. If someone thinks that those who score lower marks should also be given a 4-year degree, then they must realize that this will not uphold standards. In the end, these people must work in the health sector. So how will the quality of patient treatment be maintained? The court has proposed that this be discussed with the stakeholders, including the Doctors Association, and be resolved. The Peradeniya University has done everything that needs to be done, but they will not allow this degree to be extended to 4 years. So the problem we have is, why is it that an association or a ministry is being allowed to continue to run interference in this way? We have a doubt that this may be a case of professional jealousy, or they may consider it as sort of a low-caste profession. Do not look at this problem with a narrow mindset.
Newsfirst made several attempts to contact Minister of Higher Education S.P. Dissanayake to make inquiries regarding this issue. However, these attempts proved futile. Now, what are your views on the prevailing crisis with regard to the Allied Health Science degree? You can have your say and type your comments on our website www.newsfirst.lk as well as our Facebook page. A group of undergraduates staged a protest against the decision taken to host the Dayata Kirula exhibition at the Ruhunu University premises. The protest was staged by the University Students' Federation and was joined in by the students attached to the Agriculture faculty in Mapalana.
The demonstration was staged by a group of undergraduates attached to the Ruhunu University this morning. The students charge that the hosting of the Dayata Kirula exhibition will in no way bring development to the university.
If there needs to be a real development, the Ministry of Higher Education has a responsibility towards it. If the ministry is attempting to bring the exhibition mafia to the university and thereby suppress the independence of the university through militarization mechanism, we will fight against the move and defeat it.
However, the Vice Chancellor of the Ruhunu University recently said that all student unions had given the green light to host the exhibition at the university premises.
All student unions demanded not to delay the graduation even by a day and to ensure that the environment is protected. By hosting this event, we are confident that academic activities of students will not be hampered. The Dayata Kirula exhibition was requested by the university. Hence, we have given instructions not to tamper with the environment or the architecture at the university premises.
හානියක් නොවන විදියට තමයි අපි මේ සියලු කටයුතු සැලසුම් කරන්න කියලා අපි උපදෙස් දීලා තියෙන්නේ.
Meanwhile, the Lanka Teacher Services Union staged a demonstration based on several demands. The demonstrators began their protest march opposite the Parliament roundabout and staged a protest opposite the Ministry of Education. The protest was staged against the government's decision to exclude the gratuity in the pension and the non-removal of salary anomalies of principals.
The subject minister and the secretary dwelled on the appointment of the committee and the commissions without solving the problems at hand. As we have realized that no concrete steps have been taken to solve this issue, we have started our struggle. This will not be the last fight.
The protesters who staged their protest disrupting vehicular movement along the Kottawa Borella Old Road dispersed 15 minutes later.
Speaking at an event held in Mahava yesterday, Chief Minister of the Northwestern Province, Dayasiri Jayasekara, said that the government is not bound to provide employment for graduates.
Remember that the government is not bound to provide employment for graduates. It is not the government's job to provide employment for graduates. It is the government's job to create graduates. Devising a method to secure employment is a responsibility for all of us. It is wrong to ask the government to provide a job for a graduate. Every year 2,500, 3,000 or 4,000 students exit the school system. You can see the problem we face in recruiting all of them to government jobs. It has come to a situation where graduates who are given jobs in the divisional secretaries are loitering around unable to carry out their jobs or with nothing to do at work. The problem cannot be solved in this way.
Now crossing over to local matters on an international stage, President Mahinda Rajapaksa and Indian President Pranab Mukherjee met for bilateral talks at the Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi, India.
The two leaders discussed matters of mutual concern for both nations. President Rajapaksa described the steps Sri Lanka has taken with regard to development and the ongoing reconciliation process in the country. President Mukherjee, commenting on the Indian housing project, said that 16,000 more houses are expected to be completed during the course of 2014 and the remaining houses will be completed during 2015. Meanwhile, the BBC Sinhala service reports that the two heads of states discussed matters pertaining to a number of sectors. President Rajapaksa had also described the steps Sri Lanka has taken with regard to development and the ongoing reconciliation process in the country.
So you may ask yourself, what is the BJP's stance on Sri Lanka? Newsfirst contacted the deputy leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party for Tamil Nadu, H. Raja.
ஒன்றுபட்ட இலங்கைக்குள் தமிழ் மக்கள் சம உரிமையோடும் பாதுகாப்போடும் வாழ்வதற்கான முழு நடவடிக்கைகளையும் மத்திய அரசு மேற்கொள்ள வேண்டும்.
The BJP is of the view that the Tamils living in a united Sri Lanka need to be provided with all the facilities to live in harmony with equal rights. This is because although it was said that the 13th Amendment will be implemented, it has not materialized. According to the system in place in India, the Tamils in Sri Lanka need to be given rights. India must take all steps to ensure that. We hope that the government will discuss the matter with the CM of the Northern Province, Vigneswaran, and leader of the TNA, Sambandhan, and understand the needs and act accordingly.
Now, newly elected Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has stressed on the process of national reconciliation which meets the aspirations of the Tamil community. He said he made this point during his meeting with Sri Lankan President Mahinda Rajapaksa in New Delhi. Indian Foreign Secretary Sujatha Singh confirmed this at a media briefing held yesterday.
He requested the government of Sri Lanka to expedite the process of national reconciliation in a manner that meets the aspirations of the Tamil community for a life of equality, justice, peace and dignity in a united Sri Lanka. They also discussed the fishermen's issue, India's development assistance program and economic and commercial cooperation. In particular, PM expressed interest in early launch of the 500 megawatt Sampur coal power project and greater connectivity between the two countries.
Meanwhile, the BBC Sinhala service quotes the Indian Foreign Secretary as saying that Prime Minister Modi had pointed out to President Rajapaksa the full implementation of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution and beyond, and also cooperation to the process on bringing about reconciliation between communities. Meanwhile, the Hindu News website reports that at his meeting with President Mahinda Rajapaksa, Prime Minister Narendra Modi pushed him to deliver on promises to devolve wide powers to the country's Tamil majority regions. That was promised during diplomatic negotiations with former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon in 2010. Meanwhile, the presidential spokesman and international media unit said that the two leaders had an in-depth discussion on issues of mutual concern such as rehabilitation, resettlement, reconstruction and the ongoing reconciliation process in the country. Prime Minister Modi expressed his view that SAARC must focus on common issues that can benefit the region and reflect regional concerns on a global platform. President Rajapaksa, welcoming the views expressed by Prime Minister Modi, stated that India's leadership is crucial for the success of SAARC ventures and Sri Lanka looks forward to working with India in taking forward SAARC operations. According to international reports, Prime Minister Modi had responded positively to the invitation extended by President Rajapaksa to visit Sri Lanka. The reports add that Prime Minister Modi may visit Sri Lanka in August or September.
Just because the government in India changed, there will not be a change in foreign policy. But the Bharatiya Janata Party has taken one step forward. In their election manifesto, they have said that when they decide on the foreign policy of New Delhi, they will do so in consultation with the states. The Congress government did not have such a policy. They have included it in their manifesto. When you look at it from this perspective, there is a heightened trend of New Delhi listening to the states in India.
The Foreign Secretary of India has clearly noted what was discussed. When you compare it with the release that came from the Presidential Secretariat, there is a disparity. It is evident that they are covering it up somewhat. The main problem in the country is the national problem. Prime Minister Modi has clearly, smilingly discussed this issue with His Excellency President Mahinda Rajapaksa. He has asked us to please implement the 13th Amendment. He did not stop there. He has asked for the 13th Amendment to be developed further. 13 plus. That is the Modi government stance on Sri Lanka's national problem.
The promises made to the Indian government, that is the implementation of the 13th Amendment, must be undertaken immediately. Indian Foreign Secretary Sujatha Singh has said that the new Prime Minister told the President that the promise made to go beyond the 13th Amendment for meaningful power devolution must be fulfilled. We are happy about this. It may be a promise made to a former government, but it is still a promise made to the Indian government. We ask that the Sri Lankan government and the President act on this immediately.
India's foreign policy does not change from government to government like ours, or like the Minister of External Affairs of Sri Lanka. If there is a change to be made, they will bring together all parties and make the change following a roundtable discussion. All that they decide is how soft or how hard they are going to be. All we have to look at is whether Prime Minister Modi will be harder or softer than Manmohan Singh.
A petition filed by Sarath Fonseca pertaining to the acquisition of a plot of land which was given to him while he was serving as the army commander was taken up for consideration by the Court of Appeal today. The case was taken up by a bench comprising of Justices Upali Aberatna and PWDC Jayatilaka.
The former army commander notes in his petition that the plot of land in question was given to the three armed forces commanders following the end of the war, and added that he had bought over the land. Representing the state, Deputy Solicitor General Dilruksha Wickramasinghe pointed out that the plot of land had been acquired by the Urban Development Authority. The Deputy Solicitor General submitted to court that as the plot of land was not handed over in accordance with the State Land Act, a petition should be filed before the Supreme Court. Attorneys appearing on behalf of Sarath Fonseca argued that the plot of land had in fact been granted in accordance with the State Land Act, and hence the petition could be considered before the Court of Appeal. After taking into consideration the statement of both the defence and the state, court granted time till the 18th of this month to file objections. When I was serving as the army commander, the commanders of the armed forces were given the opportunity to purchase plots of land. We purchased the land in Colombo for a cost of 9 million rupees each. After they fell out with me, they obtained the letters of the two other commanders promising that the lands will be provided. However, after obtaining the two letters, they had taken away my land without informing me and without following any regulations. They are now preparing to auction the land. They took over the land saying it was for public use. However, we have received information that plans are afoot to auction it. I am confident that will take over the land. We will fight against such actions. The people need to be aware of such activities.
The weapon used in the murder of Payaligada urban councillor Shamila Sandaruwan was discovered in a house in Gampaha today. The police noted that the murder weapon was discovered following interrogation of the suspects in custody. Meanwhile, chairman of the Payaligada Urban Council, Amila Nishantha Kumarasinghe, and a group of urban councillors commented on the murder of Shamila Sandaruwan during a media briefing held today.
Soon after the councillor was murdered, they suspected the other members of the council and myself. Various statements were made. An individual who is in our council and who was removed from his position gave the grieving family specific instructions. He had said that he was due to receive the post of chairman of the urban council on the 16th and that he was prepared to hand this position over to the murdered councillor. We level this charge at the former chairman. Following the conclusion of the media briefing, former chairman of the Payaligada Urban Council Nihal Ananda Pereira arrived at the location and expressed his views. The acting chairman noted that I have made this statement. I never made such a statement in the council, nor did I make a statement to the media that the chairman was involved. We are not involved in this issue. We do not know who did it. The police even obtained statements from me. All I said was that he was a talented individual and that he had no enemies. Following the media briefing, the two groups became embroiled in an argument. Subsequently, the Urban Council convened for its session today and appointed KD Ananda as its deputy chairman.
Leader of the National Unity Front, Azad Sali, speaking during a media briefing held today, stated that a deputy minister had obstructed the duties of a policeman on the Southern Expressway.
A deputy minister had been speeding on the highway. He was travelling at 140 kilometers per hour. He was stopped at the Kottawa interchange and the police had given him a ticket. What happened there? He made the policeman who gave him the ticket sit on the pavement, and within 2 hours they had transferred him. The man in the police who tried to enforce the law was made to kneel on the highway. This is the law of the country. We have said before that the law in this country has gone to the dogs. We say this every day. Incidents like this are shown on the TV every day. You cannot watch a news bulletin because of all the murders and thefts.
The driver of the vehicle which carried on Deputy Minister has admitted that he exceeded the speed limit and the vehicle had gone at the speed of 140 kilometers and he was issued a spot fine. And in addition to that, the Deputy Minister has made a complaint on the behavior of the police constable who issued the spot fine. Mr. Mahen Gunasekara, SSP, in charge of Highway Traffic Division, is conducting an investigation on the issue.
MP Ravi Karunanayaka's passport, which was impounded for several years, was released today by the courts. Speaking in Newsfirst, the MP expressed the following views.
Say the passport that were impounded for years today were released permanently, and I thank, or at least the justice, sense of justice has come about, and I appreciate the court decision. Furthermore, even the Attorney General Department also accepted the same. So I guess there has been a lot of negative publicity that has been given, and today I guess all those have been corrected. The case goes on, and I don't want to speak on that as it's in courts, but the imposition of the passport has now been permanently released.
Minister of Health Maithripala Sirisena notes that he will continue his fight to expand the health warning displayed on cigarette packets to 100%.
225 members of parliament support the Gazette notification which called for a health warning which covers 80% of the cigarette pack. The intelligent people of this country are asking us as to how this was reduced to 60%. At a time when we are celebrating World No Tobacco Day, we need to clearly state that we will continue this fight. I am ready to face any challenge and suffer any personal loss. As the government, we have a responsibility about the lives of our people. On such issue, we are with the people and not with organizations. We need to clearly state this. The Minister of Health made this statement at an event held at the Sri Lanka Foundation Institute in Colombo today to celebrate World No Tobacco Day.
Still in local news, speaking at an event held in Ambalantota today, UMP parliamentarian Sajid Premadasa made the following remarks.
Several years ago, we got to know that the government's blood had gone bad. We knew that there was bad blood when they cut back on the farmers' pension scheme and the free meal given to school children, and when they imported low-quality medicinal drugs. Gradually today, as more time passes, ministers are coming to realize the true reality. Today, government ministers themselves are saying that this government is serving itself and not the people.
Donation was made to the Thaligala Rajamaha Vihara in Ambalantota today, parallel to a series of programs organized to commemorate the 21st death anniversary of late President Ranasinghe Premadasa. The Secretary to the Ministry of Education granted the opportunity today for this boy, who for over 3 months had his education stalled owing to the trauma he suffered as a result of harassment in the classroom, to enroll at Prince of Wales College in Moratuwa. This child, formerly a student of Moratuwa Mahavidyalaya, was hospitalized by his parents after the school supposedly informed him not to return and was subject to the examination of a child psychologist in February. While this boy was being treated under her supervision at the Lady Ridgeway Hospital, this professor of child psychology addressed a letter to the principal of Moratuwa Mahavidyalaya and the teacher in charge of his grade 5 class, requesting them to safeguard this child from harassment in the classroom and to provide him with a secure learning environment in which he could flourish. She also informed them that she was willing to deploy a medical team to the school to consult and assist in establishing such an environment. However, neither the school administration nor the Piliyandula Zonal Education Office showed the due consideration to the overtures made by this professor of child psychology to establish a learning environment conducive for this boy based on her expert observations, conclusions and recommendations. Yesterday, Action TV revealed the decision that was taken by the Secretary to the Provincial Ministry of Education with regard to this boy, who as a result had his school life stalled for more than 3 months. The Provincial Education Secretary had recommended that this boy, who lives in Koralawalla, Moratuwa, travel all the way to St. John's College in Nugegoda in order to go to school. Although the boy's parents, armed with this letter of recommendation from the Provincial Education Secretary, went to St. John's College, Nugegoda yesterday, the principal rejected enrolling the boy at the school, considering several factors, among them the effort that he would have to make to travel from Moratuwa to Nugegoda. A copy of the recommendation made by the Secretary to the Ministry of Education that this exceptionally bright boy be enrolled to Prince of Wales College, Moratuwa was presented to the boy's mother at the Ministry today.
I wish to note that the Ministry of Education has arranged all facilities for this boy to be enrolled at Prince of Wales College and to ensure that his school education can continue unhindered.
We were given Prince of Wales College following a call by Andra Disanayake where he said that they would stand on behalf of the children. It was Action TV that took the floor in this matter, and I am extremely grateful to all of them for the humanity they displayed in getting my child a school.
Let's now take a look at a few news reports we received from other parts of the island.
A group of individuals stole an albino tortoise and kidnapped the owner of the house from which the tortoise was stolen in Pulhena, Mathura. The kidnappers, who had arrived in a white van, had impersonated CID officers. The owner of the tortoise had been released shortly after the kidnapping.
We didn't know how much the tortoise was worth. Then all of a sudden they shoved me into the van along with the tortoise and took off. They dropped me off in Kamburgamwa.
A complaint was lodged with the Mathura police, and investigations into the incident were carried out by the Mathura Criminal Investigations Division. Investigations revealed that the tortoise was being held in Malasmulla, and the police, who went to the area pretending to be buyers, agreed to buy the tortoise for 2.5 million rupees. Many officers from surrounding areas were called in for the operation to nab the perpetrators. 5 suspects were apprehended by the police in a residence in the Ahungalle area. The missing tortoise was also discovered. The suspects and the said tortoise were produced before the Mathura magistrate. The suspects were subsequently placed in remand custody till the 2nd of June. The magistrate also ordered the tortoise to be kept in the Mathura police until final verdict is issued. Meanwhile, a container truck that was travelling along the tunnel below the main railway route between Ragama and Demrakoda collided with the overhead bridge. Residents of the area said that similar accidents take place in the area because the clearance height of the overhead bridge is not sufficient.
The clearance height is not enough. If there is a bus which is carrying goods on its roof, then it definitely collides with this bridge. This causes harm to the goods as well as the vehicle. Accidents occur at least twice a day. There is no point in talking about the amount of containers that meet with accidents here. People have even died here.
Area residents state that although a warning sign had been erected 2 kilometers away from the location, stating that such accidents could take place, accidents continue to take place. Meanwhile, the railway control room stated that the accident had not disrupted train services, but noted, however, that speed restrictions have been imposed for trains travelling in the area. The railway control room also stated that renovation on the damaged railway track took place today.
Shine Jurampati now joins us with a quick look at the weather front.
Good evening and welcome to Weather First. I'm Shahin Jurampati. Now, before taking a look at the weather forecast, let's turn our attention towards several incidents that occurred in parts of the island yesterday. Travel on the upcountry railway line to Badulla is still impossible owing to a landslide which occurred in Udunura. The landslide occurred this morning and has restricted train services on the upcountry line to Bandaravela. Several houses at the 91 junction in Kantale were damaged by strong winds yesterday. Newsfirst reporter Roshan Kumara has more. Several houses in the Kantale area were damaged owing to the heavy rains accompanied by strong winds last night, while many trees were also uprooted. Now, in a tragic incident, a 6-year-old girl was killed when struck by lightning in the Sivanagar area in Pudikidu Iruppu Mulaitivu yesterday. Meanwhile, one person was killed in a lightning strike in the Pannichankulama area in Vanala, Kenya, while another man who was injured in the incident has been hospitalized. Let's now take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the other areas across the island. Now, according to the Department of Meteorology, showers will occur at times in the central, Saburgamo and southern provinces, and a few spells of showers will occur in the western province, particularly in the morning. Now, thunder showers will develop at a few places in the Uva, north central and eastern provinces during the afternoon or evening. Now, fairly strong winds are also expected at times along the western slopes of the central hills, and there may be temporary localized fairly strong winds during the showers elsewhere. Now, the department says that showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the sea areas off the coast extending from Putlam to Potterville via Gaul and Hambantota, and showers may occur at several places in other sea areas around the island as well. Now, the sea areas around the island will be rough at times as winds can strengthen up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour at times. Now, with that, let's take a quick look at the city-by-city weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Well, before we get into your next story, a quick cricket match update, and not to be a bearer of bad news, but Sri Lanka, who were bowled out for 67 in their first innings, and as of a short while ago, England were on 40 for no loss after 8 overs, so it does look like they will be taking a 2-1 lead in the 5-match series. But more on this story will come your way later on in the news.
The final rites of Lalani Nishani Warapitiya, a resident of Matale who was killed last Sunday, was conducted today at the public cemetery of the Matale Urban Council.
The victim's brother had lodged a complaint with the police after noticing that the victim, who had gone to sleep following an event on Saturday night, had been missing. On Sunday, the remains of the youth was found in a forest area around 150 meters from her home. The police said that although the victim did not seem to have been subjected to rape, she had been attacked with a blunt weapon to her head. The remains of Lalani Nishani Warapitiya were taken to the public cemetery of the Matale Urban Council following religious observances at her residence today.
The final rites of Lalani Nishani Warapitiya were conducted at the Matale Urban Council public cemetery with the participation of a large gathering. The police says that the murder was a result of a family dispute and have named the victim's elder brother as a suspect.
Lalani, aged 23, was an external degree undergraduate and the youngest in a family of 4 children.
The Birgama police succeeded in apprehending a group of thieves who had stolen raw material imported by a private company. The police say that the stock of raw material was valued at about 4 million rupees. A complaint had been lodged with the police on the 22nd of this month that the stock of imported raw material had been stolen. The police said that the raw material had been imported to the country in 12 containers. The theft had occurred while the raw materials were being transported from the customs yard to Wattala. The Birgama police, who investigated the theft, apprehended the 6 suspects and also recovered a stock of raw materials. The police say the suspects were produced in court today and were remanded until the 9th of June.
Doing business with the US, a meeting organized by Antram Sri Lanka took place this morning in Colombo.
The event was held under the auspices of US Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Michelle J. Sisson.
Entrepreneurship, of course, is something for which the U.S. is greatly admired worldwide. But we believe that a focus on U.S. entrepreneurship and innovation also means that our partners around the world can benefit from access to U.S. goods, access to advanced U.S. technology. This creates a win-win situation. So we have launched a number of new tools in our diplomacy or economic statecraft toolkit to reach out to businesses overseas.
Also speaking at the event was the Deputy Minister of Investment and Promotion.
Foreigners or investors wouldn't come in for charity. We have to be competitive, and we are competitive. His Excellency President Mahinda Rajapaksa took a bold decision to invest in infrastructure. Today we have infrastructure second to none. We have a second international airport, we have a second port, and we didn't have a highway after independence, and we have 2 now, and the whole of Sri Lanka would be connected with highways. That alone is not enough. There has to be tangible development. For that, we need investment into Sri Lanka. The garment industry has achieved a lot. They are one industry, they don't trouble us. They don't ask for incentives. They have worked very hard and it has paid dividend.
In your sports news tonight, in cricket, the third one-day international of the 5-match series between Sri Lanka and England in Manchester is currently underway, and England in fact require just a further 20 more runs to win the match. Now, if you're wondering how the situation arose, here's how. An impressive spell of pace bowling by Chris Jordan on a rain-affected Old Trafford pitch restricted Sri Lanka to its third lowest ODI total. Putting to bat, the Sri Lankans suffered two early setbacks as James Anderson claimed the wickets of both openers for trivial scores.
It's an absolute beauty. Oh, Nick. Anderson again, banging ball, pace to remind. Good length again, but an equally good shot. Lovely shot. Please cap, gotta be.
Chris Jordan then began his destructive spell and went on to claim his maiden 5-wicket haul in ODIs. Sri Lanka were eventually restricted to just 67 runs in 24 overs.
Try to maximize.
Kumar Sangakkara, Mahela Jayawardene and skipper Angelo Matthews were the only batsmen who made it to double figures. But unfortunately, none of them were able to pass the 15-run mark.
Goes the finger, thin edge, taken by Jos Buttler. Has to hit, look upstairs, England are edged and taken, simple catch, James Treble a second slip. Counter punch, there is a man in the deep who should take it and does. England's fielding has been excellent today, another strike. Is it full enough? Is it accurate enough? Yes it is. So Jordan finishes with 5.
And chasing that 68 for victory, the hosts England were on 51 for no loss a short while ago.
Moving on, the first round of matches of the quarterfinals of Super Fighter, Sri Lanka's first reality sports TV program, will be held in a boxing ring of international standards built at the Galle Fort tomorrow. Now, this is incidentally the first time in Sri Lankan sporting history that a boxing match of this nature is being held at such a location.
Super Fighter.
The first round of quarter-final fights of Super Fighter, which is a joint initiative of Newsfirst, MTV and NBC and MAS Holdings, is scheduled to commence at 2:30 p.m. at the Galle Fort tomorrow. 32 contenders will participate in the quarterfinals under 4-weight classes.
I am representing the Ampara district for this tournament. For us, boxing is a new sport. We were only able to participate in this tournament because the Super Fighter program was held in Ampara. Our level of skill has improved drastically and it is on par with the more experienced boxers. We can fight.
While the contenders were provided with in-house training over the past 2 weeks, the second round of fights are scheduled to be held at the Samanala grounds in Galle on Saturday. Viewers could select 16 of their favorite contenders for the semi-finals of Super Fighter through SMS voting. The relevant numbers assigned to each contender will be announced in the near future. Meanwhile, a musical show where the 7 finalists of Sales the Superstar are scheduled to perform will be staged at the Samanala grounds in Galle in line with the semi-finals of Super Fighter. This is incidentally the first time sports and music is being collaborated on the same stage.
Super Fighter.
And you're back with News First. Now, growing up, each and every one of us undoubtedly was exposed to science fiction, fantastic robots, artificial intelligence and vehicles of the future.
That's absolutely right, Sonali. And now we are now in an age where science fiction is rapidly becoming science non-fiction. So Sonali, on that note, let me ask you a question. Do you like to drive?
Well, actually, Madhushka, I prefer being driven around.
I can do you one better. Google yesterday unveiled the prototype of a brand new self-driving car which has no steering wheel, accelerator or brake pedals.
Now, the two-seater vehicle can be summoned to the user's destination using a smartphone, and the final destination can also be set using the same device.
Unbelievable. And tonight we leave you with a look at this amazing futuristic vehicle.
Good night.
Good night.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.